Hey everybody, it's Eric with Chaotic Goods. So a couple months ago, I made a little teaser short that some of you may have seen with a new channel partner. And after that, I kind of just didn't do a video about the products that I had purchased from them. Well, that's what today's video is going to be about. We're going to be taking a look at two of the deck boxes offered from this new partner with the channel, and that is Murasaki Atelier. And again, I am probably butchering that name. I asked for the pronunciation of that name, and I still feel like I'm saying it wrong every single time. So for short, I'm just going to say MA, and we're going to call it good. That way I don't embarrass myself any further on the pronunciation of the name. But we're going to take a look at these boxes. We have two styles of boxes here. There is another one that I'm actually saving for my 100 subscriber giveaway, so keep an eye out for that. And without further ado, let's just dive right in. All right, so first I am going to give a little introduction on the new partner with the channel. I'm an affiliate of theirs, so if you use the code in the description below, you can score yourself a % off of your purchase, which is pretty awesome for them to provide a new channel such as myself and taking that chance to work with me. Now, they provide deck boxes and they have some sleeves and apparel items as well that you may have saw in my short that I did again a couple months back. But we're really going to be focusing on the deck boxes here because this is a TCG accessory channel or a TCG channel. So we're going to be focusing on the accessories for TCGs. Now, the designs themselves are not very different than what you see from other products. We have what they call the bento style deck box, and this is your traditional artisan style deck box that holds up to 160 cards, and then it has a fold out dice compartment. And then we have I honestly want to say a more up and coming popular design where it is a single box that fits up to 100 cards, and then it has a detachable dice tray. Mana Moon, Arcane Fortress, and some other brands are really using this sort of style box a lot more than the bento style box, which you typically see from companies like Gemtech Accessories is one of the big ones that come to mind. Now, I'm a fan of both of these. I have tried both of these deck boxes before. You know, I've been using these for a couple months ever since I received them. And I'm honestly a big fan. So we're just gonna do what we usually do in these videos. We're gonna talk about the price, what they fit, what materials they're using, the magnet check, the drop tests, all that good stuff. And then I'm gonna give you the pros and cons and tell you whether you should buy them or not. Now, just as a disclaimer, I am an affiliate with Murasaki Atelier, and they have not seen this video before you are seeing this video. And again, I purchased these items with my own money. Yes, it was at a discount, but it was not anything given to me for free. So with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's just dive into the review of these products. All right, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the price. The price of these boxes are competitive. When you look at Mana Moon, Arcane Fortress, or Gemtech Accessories that all kind of showcase this same box design, whether it's the bento or the Okashi box here, they're all relatively priced the same. With some caveats of embroidered versions versus kind of Mana Moon where they go a little bit over the top with the designs on what they put on the outside, but some people like that. Personally, I'm a fan, but I just never have the time or money to actually buy any of their boxes. But when you're looking at the Okashi box that they have, which is your 100 card deck box and dice compartment, you have a $40 box, which is going to be this one here, their Embers of Victory box, which features the lovely red hood art from Nikkei. And then you have two other versions. You have their Spice and Wolf or their Wise Wolf deck box that is $45. And then you have currently their pre-order for the Lightning deck box, which is featuring Asuna from Sword Art Online. Those are both $45. And then you have the bento box here, which is this Spider Lily version is currently their only bento style box, but this is priced extremely competitively at $35. I think this is an absolute steal. If you compare this to Gemtech accessories and their similar style, like waifu senpai boxes. Those are actually $50 to $60, so you're getting a pretty good deal on this. And honestly, it's Chisato and Takina. What's not to love about it? Now, that's just the price of the box. The big issue I have, and that I looked into, is the shipping. From what I can tell, they don't offer free shipping on their orders, which is understandable. They do have to make some money. But when you are looking to do shipping, this box, their bento box, is $8 shipping, which is pretty fair, pretty understandable. That's most shipping standards from what I've seen. But the moment you look to just maybe purchase one of their Okashi boxes, it's a $15 shipping tag. And I don't know, this is just me speaking as a consumer of these products and providing you with the information that I have. I don't know if why there's such a big difference between these two boxes and the shipping. You know, if you're adding multiple items, you go up to about $20 or $22 worth of shipping. I just did one big bulk order with them, and I didn't really notice the shipping at the time. But if I were to personally purchase just a single deck box from them, and I saw a $15 shipping tack onto it, I just wouldn't purchase the box. You're paying $40 to $45 for a box and then $15 in shipping. That's almost 50% increase on just shipping alone. Again, I am just talking as a consumer of these products, and I don't have that information even though I am an affiliate of their channel. This is not information that's provided to me, so I'm simply just providing this to you as a reviewer and as a fellow consumer. So heads up, if you're gonna buy the box, you're gonna pay quite a bit in shipping alone. Okay, so these are actually currently decked out with stuff that I was testing in them. And first off, I'm just gonna give a shout out to the art of these boxes. They credit the artists on the webpage when you're buying them, and one of their co-founders actually does some of the art for their boxes. He did the art for this one, and honestly, I'm a huge fan of it. But we have two of my favorite waifus here. From Licorice Recoil, we have Chisato and Takina. This box was pretty much the reason I was sold with the company, because I'm a diehard fan of this anime, so I pretty much just told them to take my money. Now, again, this is the bento style deck box, your traditional artisan box where you have your main compartment and then a fold-out compartment. Other companies do this a little bit differently, where the main compartment's over here and the fold-out side is over here, but generally it's this sort of layout. Now, on their website, they state that they are able to fit 100 double-sleeved cards in this main compartment and then 60 double-sleeved cards in this compartment. Unfortunately, that is not entirely true. In my testing, the main compartment does fit 100 double-sleeved cards, and as always, I am using my Dragon Shield test cards with Dragon Shield inners, and that deck is not here. Is it in here? It is in here. All right, so we have this one. It's my Dragon Shields, and we can just slide that in right here, and it looks fantastic. It fits perfectly. There's not a lot of wiggle room to fit any more cards in there. And then this compartment doesn't actually fit 60 double-sleeved cards. I have 50 double-sleeved cards here that are using Dragon Shield inners and Dragon Shield dual mats for the standard sleeve, and this is 50, and it doesn't fit in this compartment, or the 60 doesn't fit in this compartment. The 50 quite barely fits. I really have to squeeze those last little bits of cards in there. So this is more of a 150 card deck box if you are double sleeving. Now, when you're single sleeving your cards, obviously that's just going to be a bigger number. Talking about 120 cards in this main compartment and anywhere between 65 to 70 cards in this little side compartment here. The reason I say 65 to 70 is it's all going to depend on how comfortable you are with putting a lot of like pressure on the box and squeezing your cards together. Also, your sleeve thickness. You know, if you're using really thick sleeves and a inner sleeve, that's really going to shrink down that number. Now, this dice compartment here, I have a bunch of 12mm dice and then even some smaller 14mm dice in here because I was throwing this around, doing my drop test, and I wanted to see if they would pop out. But you can fit 20 16mm dice, so these guys here, in this compartment very comfortably, and then 70 of these 12mm dice. So if you really need a bunch of dice, you can use these little dudes and fit 70 of them in here, or these larger MTG spin down dice that I know people are a huge fan of. For those of you who play Commander, they fit in here, and you can fit 10 of them in here without any issue. So very good dice compartment that's going to fit all of your dice for things you may need. Now, snap cases. For those of you who do play Commander, or maybe One Piece and you keep your leader card in a snap case, does it fit in the box? That is important. And in the main compartment, it does. But again, because it fits 100 double sleeved cards exactly, without very much wiggle room, you putting a snap case in here, that's going to take about 5 to 6 card spaces worth of room out of your main compartment. So your 100 card Commander deck suddenly turns into a 95 card Commander deck. Now with the little side compartment here, it does not fit a snap case, which is honestly a little weird, but it is a very snug fit in the design where you're almost barely fitting the actual sleeve into the box, which is another point where it doesn't fit oversleeves. I've tried with my oversleeve Weiss deck, which is 50 cards, to put into this side compartment, and it doesn't fit, which is honestly a little obnoxious, because if I want to take this box with me, I'm really not able to use this side compartment, because a lot of the times I am using a Bushiroad waifu sleeve of some sort with an oversleeve, and the side compartment is just not usable. So huge downside to this side compartment not fitting oversleeves or snap cases. Now it fits, Dragon Shields or Gamegenic sleeves, whatever you may be using, just fine, but only up to 50 cards. So something to keep in mind if you were looking at the bento box design specifically. Now, let's move over to their Okashi style deck box, is what they call it. It is one that I've been using a lot more than my other deck boxes, because anyone who's familiar with my channel, I like having a single deck with me on, my cards just went everywhere. A single deck with me on most occasions. And so I don't typically need this sort of box to hold extra cards. Now I did just say that that is kind of a deal breaker, but it's not the end of the world for me, because most of the time when I'm going to play a TCG, I'm only taking one deck with me anyway. So not the end of the world, but it may be the end of the world for you. So with the Okashi style deck box, and we'll just tuck this over here, we have, again, lovely, amazing art, and this one was actually done by their co-founder, Rafu. So this box fits on their website, specifically states 100 double sleeve cards. Now this is single sleeve cards. We're just going to throw these in here, and we can see that it fits very comfortably 100 single sleeve cards. And because if it's 100 single sleeve cards, you can actually increase that amount to about 120, give or take. And then when you have your, let me get my double sleeves out of here. When you have your double sleeve cards, it fits like so. Now the Okashi deck boxes come with dividers that match the art on the front of the box, which is again not something entirely uncommon to this style of deck box. It's actually something I showcased in my Arcane Fortress deck box. Manamoon, who does a lot of boxes in this style, also include dividers. Now, this one's just 3 nice little dividers that are, I want to say, kind of like a hard foam. I don't know the material exactly, but they're a little bit bendable, but I'm afraid if you bend them too much, you might actually just tear them apart. So kind of be a little bit careful with them. But if you have 100 double sleeved cards in here, you're only able to fit one of the dividers. And that's kind of pushing it and being a little bit forceful with the divider itself. So the dividers are great, and I personally do use them because I'm not playing Commander. I don't have a 100 card deck. I have my Grand Archive deck, which is an 60 card main board, and then I have my 15 card sideboard, and then my 12 card material deck and some tokens. And I can easily separate those with these dividers and then grab what I need in between rounds or, you know, at the round start, which is really nice. Now, this little guy, this little dice compartment that it comes with is detachable, which is great. And then you have all of these little tokens that can fit in here. If you're a Commander player, it probably isn't the box for you because it is my understanding that you guys need a lot more dice than what this little box can hold. And that's 16 millimeter dice. If you're using the small 12 millimeter dice, you can actually fit 60 of those in here, which is quite a lot. And then you have your 8 MTG spin down D20s that can fit in here, which is really cool, but it's just a tiny little dice compartment. All right, so we're just gonna jump into our magnet test and then our weight test, just so you can kind of see how good the magnets are in these boxes and what the weight is going to look like when it's in your bag, when you're carrying it around. So for starters, we're just gonna start with the bento box here. As always, in the upper right-hand corner, you can check the magnet strength chart. So we have a lot of blue and green here, which means we have a strong magnetic hold on this. And we only have 2 magnets on this front flap, which means we have 2 magnets here. Now, with that, we're only rocking 4 magnets on this box, which could very well be the reason why it is so cheap. The magnets are good quality that we can tell based off the strength set, but 4 magnets, I'm afraid, isn't really enough to actually keep your cards in here. And you'll see that from my shake test and my drop test that it kind of fails pretty miserably. Now, if we fold this down, we do have 1 magnet here, or 2 magnets here, I guess, on the actual dice compartment, but I wouldn't worry about this. For it folding in like that, I don't think it needs more than 1 magnet, honestly. Now, the magnets on the Okashi box are there's a little bit more than just the 6 that we have on our bento box. So we have 2 here and then 2 here. Now, if you watched my Arcane Fortress review, it's a similar style box where it is, 100 cards and then a detachable dice compartment. But the magnets on the Arcane Fortress, there are 6 of them on this front flap because they are attaching to this magnetic box or this detachable box here. The Okashi from MA does not have that. It only has the 4 that are on this, leaving this not magnetically attached in the front, which isn't a big deal. It still passes the test from what I did and what you'll see earlier or later in the video. And then we check the rest of the body and there's no magnets. But when we check here on the little detachable guy, we have 4 magnets that are keeping it held to the side of the box. And then we have 2 additional magnets that are holding the dice compartment closed. So we have actually a good amount of magnets that are keeping this guy attached to our box. So in total, we're looking at 20 magnets in this, and 20 magnets for the $45, $40 deck box is a pretty good deal. Honestly, I've seen a lot less magnets in a fairly similar priced product. So that's kind of nice that you're getting good magnetic strength on this price deck box. Now, as for weight, we're just going to be doing this in pounds here. This is the double sleeve, and then this is 150 cards double sleeve, and then we have our dice compartment here. So this guy in your bag is going to be sitting at 2.34 pounds. So it's actually on par with Dueling Guard that I reviewed previously on the weight of the box itself. If you look at the Okashi box, this is 1.5 pounds. So when you're using the bento, when it is fully decked out, it's almost 2.5 pounds. So you're losing, a pound of weight when you have a box like this, but you're also not holding as many cards, which again, that's entirely up to you. Now we are going to move on to our shake and drop test. I'm going to put a little disclaimer here on the screen that lets you know why I do these tests and why I think these tests are important and why I think that shake tests are irrelevant, but I still do them anyway. Now, let's jump into it. Okay, let's talk about the pros and the cons of these boxes. Now, I'm just bundling these boxes into the same pros and the same cons category. I'm not going to do a pro of one and cons of the other. That's just not how we're going to do this. They're both products offered by the same company. I think they are great products, and they're just going to be bundled into the same pros and cons list. So the first pro is the quality. When I first received the package from Murasaki back in May, I was extremely impressed, as this has a nice soft feel to it, and it doesn't feel like a cheap vegan leather box similar to the Arcane Fortress boxes I reviewed earlier. And on the inside, it's a nice soft suede, it's just a good feel when you are opening it and getting your cards out. It just feels premium, which is nice for a $40 deck box, because $40 I wouldn't consider a premium price tag. It's more of a mid-range price tag in my opinion, and you're getting top-notch quality from a mid-range product. And the same goes for the bento style box here, where this one doesn't have that soft suede feel to it. It is using more of that leather style of texture, but the quality on this one's really nice. This one does look a little beat up. I did use this in my drop test, and this is one I have been using personally for a lot longer than May. I actually purchased this prior to my affiliation with MA, so this box has been used regularly since. So it's a little bit more beat up. Now, the second pro is going to be the capacity. And there's an asterisk on the capacity because the bento states that it will hold 160 double sleeve cards. That is not true using Dragon Shield's standard sleeves and inner sleeves. If you are using a thinner sleeve, then it is possible that you may be able to fit 160 cards in this box. But another reason I state the capacity with an asterisk is I know a lot of people don't just keep their commander in a sleeve. They put it in some sort of top loader or a snap case like this, and when you have a deck box that has a capacity of 100 cards, which is great, that's what you quote on your site, that's fantastic, but then you don't have any other room to fit other things in here without sort of bending the box or bending the cards, potentially causing damage to both of them, that comes with an asterisk. I do think it is a pro that it does fit these cards that you stated is going to fit, minus the bento being short 10 cards. That's a pro. I've reviewed a lot of products that state they will fit X amount of cards, and they in fact fall short of that. Now, the third pro is going to be waifus. I'm a sucker for waifus. I'm a sucker for waifu deck boxes. It is primarily the reason why I purchased this box specifically. It has Chisato and Takina on it. I had to have it. And then we have this one here. We have the Asuna one. We have the Holo from Spice and Wolf. Their motto is by Weebs for Weebs. And they are absolutely knocking that out of the park. The waifus that they are choosing to put on these boxes are fantastic, and I can't wait to see what other waifus they put on these boxes. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Fairy Tail, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, I do have to talk about the cons, and I feel like every video I do, the big con is going to be the price. While I don't think the price of these boxes is necessarily a con. I think the price of these boxes are very competitive for what you are getting when you compare them to similar brands like Manamoon and Gemtech accessories. But my big con here is the shipping. I mentioned this earlier in the video. The shipping cost is not something I have any information on. It is something that happens on the back end of their site and what they have set in place. But if you are buying a $40 deck box and the shipping cost of this deck box is $15, you are spending almost 50% on shipping that would be essentially another deck box. If you toss in 2 deck boxes, let's say you wanted to, give one to a friend, or you wanted a backup, or you just wanted to order 2 different ones, that's $20 of shipping, which again is 50% of one of these boxes, which is a hard pill to swallow. Personally, if I was checking out and I saw a $15 to $20 shipping fee, I just wouldn't check out. I just wouldn't purchase the product and I would go elsewhere. So that's a huge con, and I do hope that it is something that changes in the future, just based on, current United States situations with other countries. Hopefully it changes. Now, the second con is going to be the drop test and the shake test. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but the magnets on these are strong, but I don't think there are enough of them. I think if there were a few more magnets on the bento box, it would do a better job at the drop test. And the shake test, the only reason it failed is because I shook it upside down. So all of that weight from the cards just pushes on the lid and then it falls. So maybe a little bit more magnets could make it to where the shake test actually passes. Who knows? And the same goes for the Okashi box here. I think having the similar magnet style that you saw on the Arcane Fortress, where it is 2 additional magnets here on the lid to make it a little bit more of a stronger magnetic hold, would be good. Now, would that increase the price? Probably. But if I am paying this much money for the box, I want to make sure that it is keeping my cards secure. I want products that are going to keep my cards safe, just in case I do drop it. And if I'm traveling somewhere to large scale events, I want to make sure that when it is in my bag, when it's going through security at TSA or anything like that, that it is going to be safe. Now, with all of that out of the way, do I actually recommend these deck boxes to you? I honestly say I can recommend these boxes. For a new TCG accessory company, the quality of these boxes is a lot better than some veteran companies I've seen out there, and that is saying a lot. I don't know, what kind of who their manufacturer is, who they're going through, but they're doing very good QA tests on these products before getting the final product sent out to consumers, where I am confident that they're going to go a long way as a company, as long as they keep producing similar style quality boxes. They have great taste in their waifus, and I think if they continue making amazing waifu boxes like this one here or this one here, it's worth it. Now, if you're not into waifus and you don't want, these boxes, there are plenty of other generic brand name boxes out there. You can go with Ultimate Guard, you can go with Gamegenic. They're good boxes, but you're spending, $20, $30 on a box that's just a plain boring color. Why do that when you can have a hot waifu? Now, I do want to thank Murasaki Atelier for allowing me to be a channel affiliate and providing me with a discount code below. If you do make a purchase through them, please make sure that you use that code. It not only supports the channel, it supports them, and that goes a long way as we are a partner together. And honestly, I'm excited to see what other products they put out.